My multiverse theory is that the Lombax are annihilated everywhere, and that every universe they go to, they will just find either one or two lone survivors. And of course, you want to say, well, this, in this multiverse, you don't want to mix because you can't reestablish your species that way or something. But I think they're saying that, like, that is the only way to save the Lombaxes, is for these singular strays to come together and reestablish their society. But who knows? Maybe there is a Lombax dimension. God, I love this game. This was so great. If you have a PS5 and you played that Astro game that comes free, it's fantastic. It lets you feel like you're getting a glimpse into what the future of gaming will bring. And then for the last year of not playing this, obviously, I didn't think any of the games that I played felt like they were really promising or delivering on the promises of the next generation. This one has tons of haptic feedback. There are firing modes that are based on how hard you pull the trigger. The game remembers your system preferences. That's a thing that did not exist until this game. Yeah, just about everything was incredible. And then from what people have said, I obviously don't know because I didn't design the game, but these rifts, when you go through like larger rifts, let's say the pocket dimensions, that is an instant load in of a new scene. And they still give you visual access to the previous scene. So it's lightning fast on its response. I loved the characters, all of them. Rivet and Kit, I am ready for that game. I am ready to follow those heroes and see how they do, especially Rivet. I mentioned this a few times during the stream, but the great thing about that character was that she was being heroic without heroes in her universe, in her dimension. So with Ratchet, he's being heroic because he wants to be like Captain Quark. He wants to be a professional hero. And then Rivet, she's being a hero because there are no heroes, and she has to step up. And so that was incredibly dope, the fact that we had this multiverse story where it really was not just a gender-swapped version of the main characters. Although I will say my biggest criticism is that Kit is just a gender-swapped version of Clank, especially from the, I think it was the 2016 game, maybe 2018. Whichever was the last Ratchet and Clank, Clank was filled with guilt and was like, oh, I'm a danger to everyone and you all need to leave me. Whereas, Kit did, or not whereas, but then in this dimension, Kit does the same thing. She's like, I'm a battle bot, I'm too scary, you gotta leave me alone. So I would have liked to see something unique about Kit. She really is just female Clank. And that's kind of a shame when you've got such an incredible character like Rivet, where she is her own hero. She's heroic because her dimension needs heroes. It was just incredible. It was dope. So yeah, as far as new characters added to old IPs, I think Rivet is a fantastic addition to this universe, and I can't wait to see more. God, I hope there's more Rivet. She is the best. Obviously, this dimension was not a gender swap dimension, since Emperor Nefarious was another dude. Unless Dr. Nefarious is a female, and none of us knew that. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but, you know, the point being that when it's really tempting to want to do just a gender-swapped dimension, but the same characters, and it's refreshing to see that these are characters that are kind of unique in their own way. Don't break it again! Else I'll have to go and redo everything in New Game Plus. As with previous Ratchet and Clank games, the biggest frustration is when you get to the end and you're just like, okay, now how am I going to get the last upgrades or find the last few things? And especially getting the Rhino. I got the Rhino before the last boss, but there might be some people who get the Rhino after the last boss, and you have to wonder, what's the point of the Rhino at that point? So we'll see how it goes. Now we got the cast. I can press and hold circle to skip this, but sometimes games punish you for skipping the credits. God, I loved those dark purple crystals that would send you back and forward in time for the same location. It seemed as though they couldn't make up their mind in terms of writing as to whether or not they were in an alternate dimension or they were in a different time. I interpreted it as being thrust into a future where whatever area you are in is now destroyed. It was really only a couple of times where someone would be like, wow, this dimension is all messed up. Let's go to the other dimension where things are working. And I was like, I don't know if it's a dimensional thing, man. I think it's more of a time thing. I think the dimensional stuff is different. Speaking of writing, the fact that I could finish so many lines either says that I watch a lot of young adult media, or that they just were like, he is clearly the audience, the target market for this game, therefore we'll just write it the way he would talk. Invader Zim was pretty good, although it's a little annoying that his Zerky Jr. character sounds so much like Zim. Because I think, well, I wasn't looking at the voice actors, so I didn't see who played Dr. Nefarious. It's possible that was his voice as well. Less of an Invader Zim is the point that I was making. It's really that Zerky Jr. that's like, can you guess that this guy played Invader Zim? I never would have known. Yeah, I found it delightful, I found it fun, and I highly recommend the game.